So my name is Dion Cannon. I double major in professional communication and emerging media with a concentration in digital humanities. And my second major was applied social science, concentration in history and politics with a minor in peace studies. And I'm student body president of SSA. So I wanted to join SSA, so I've been an activist, I will say, my first 2 years here at UW Stout. Part of that was doing protesting, being a part of my identity orgs, BSU, and other organizations like that. And I wanted to impact my campus a lot more, was mainly the reasons I began the process of joining SSA. I feel like this was the next step for me in really representing the students at Stout, but also making it a better place than when I got here. I think that was one of the main goals and driving force is I want to leave a place better than what I found it, and SSA really helps any student achieve that goal.
My name is Christopher Johnson. I am the Vice President of the Stout Student Association, and I am a History and Politics major in the Applied Social Science program. I believe strongly in people's representation. I believe that people have the right to have their voices heard. I believe that people's voices being heard is how real change happens. So getting involved and being a part of that process is something I thought would be well worth my time. And being in this position, being able to help students is very rewarding, it's very fulfilling, and it makes me feel like my time here on campus has meant something other than just getting a degree.
My name is Alex Saria. My major is supply chain management, and my position in the SSA, I'm the director of organizational affairs. I was a freshman, and I came down those stairs, and right here, I started talking to the people. I'd never been in student government before, but it sounded interesting. They kind of got me excited. Then I went back to my dorm that night. I kind of was going through all my stuff from the backyard bash, and just struck a chord with me, and I applied, and been in it ever since.
So my name is Maddie McConville. My major is Applied Social Science with concentrations in History and Politics, and I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the SSA. So I guess just looking from the outside and seeing how much SSA does impact students directly and the work that they do. When I was a freshman, I was terrified, and I looked into student government, but I was like, yeah, there's no way possible that I would get a position or anything. And then you look at it, I'm looking at it from a senior, and you understand how deeply we do need people. So I think just looking at the impact that SSA does have on students and the contributions that we do make to the student body is super important. During the 2018 midterms, it was kind of a huge election, and I helped the previous Director of Legislative Affairs, Shane Miller, I helped him register students right outside the Involvement Center, and I think just the ability that SSA has to make an impact on students, I think that was just my experience helping Shane. I think I learned that, so that was just my incentive to get involved and to be able to make my impact on students. So.
My name is Cody Gens. I'm a computer science major, and I'm the Director of Financial Affairs. I wanted to join SSA because it's something that I was always interested in. I served on student government in high school, and I also think that it is very important for students to, govern themselves. And I love the mission of SSA. I love advocating for people that otherwise wouldn't be able to advocate for themselves. I love fighting for what I believe in. SSA, it has a very important role on campus, and I really wanted to help see that through.
My name is Riley Kangas. I am a computer networking and information technology major, and I am the Director of Information Technology for SSA. I wanted to join SSA because I want to be more involved on campus. Because of how important I value higher education, I want to make sure that I left this university a better place. Additionally, I also found that I could be able to improve my personal skills. So being in SSA, I've been able to become a better communicator overall and just think more critically about things.
So my name is Brandon Ballou. I am a psych major at UW Stout. I'm a senior, and my position in SSA is the Director of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. So in my freshman year, I wanted to join SSA mostly because I wanted to get involved on campus. Being a freshman, I didn't know what involvement looked like, so I thought it would be a good idea, but I also felt like it was the best way for me to implement institutional change. I saw some problems within my institution, and I wanted to fix them.
My name is Jacob Nadeau. I'm an environmental science major at Stout with a concentration in natural resources conservation. I also have minors in chemistry, sustainability, and Spanish. My position within SSA is Director of Sustainability. I heard about SSA from the previous Director of Sustainability in one of the classes that we actually had together. And he brought up his position and the role of SSA, and he gave me the whole rundown on what everything this position in particular had to offer. And he mentioned that he was looking for somebody to replace him and run for this position in the upcoming election. And with his description of just how much impact SSA overall and this position can have on campus, it really caught my attention, and it made me feel like that there was definitely something more that I could be doing on campus, for campus and for students, especially in the realm of sustainability, especially with Stout being one of the leading UW schools in regards to sustainability, and being a part of that process definitely inspired me to go for this position.
So my biggest accomplishment, I would say the creation of the graphic design position. It was a position I worked on last year as the Director of Communications for SSA. It was a lot of graphic design work was underneath the Director of Communications, and I felt like that position had a lot of nuances that needed to be focused on, and making graphic material wasn't one of them. And we had such a beautiful art program. I was like, we should just be utilizing these talents and giving students the opportunity to work and achieve money for something they're passionate to do. So creating that graphic design position, I was really scared if anybody would actually apply for it, but I have a wonderful graphic designer who's currently in the role, who's doing a fantastic job. She pretty much runs it by herself now, but it just really helps students get a better sense of what SSA is in a lot more professional manner via our graphic design program at Stout. So it really helped us with our legitimacy, and pretty much if you have good advertisement, a lot more students would take you seriously and also actually look at the poster. So a couple of nuances there, but that was probably one of my biggest accomplishments.
Restarting initiatives with intercampus connections, working with our other sister institutions around the state to build those relationships between our student governments to make sure we can all communicate effectively, can show up to our bigger meetings, the UW system student representatives, informed together, and to come up with things we can do at those meetings to make them more effective. My future goals, which I'm hoping to have done here in the next couple of months, would be an official off-campus housing website. We're currently in the final stages of figuring out where we're going with that, and then we'll hopefully have something before April. And then legal services here on campus to provide our students with the ability to consult with a lawyer for no cost at all, to oversee or to get advice on renting contracts or subleasing, or if they get in trouble with things that they're in over their head and they need some legal advice, rather than having to go to a lawyer and being charged $50 to $100 just to see the lawyer for like 10 minutes. Do it for free here on campus. And I think that is probably one of the best things we can do for our students, to help make sure that they understand how to navigate the legal world and are able to protect themselves in instances of a contract or something like that.
My biggest accomplishment was, I think, this past fall, when the Structural Organizational Affairs Committee is to help approve and get student organizations through. And for a while, we kept doing Constitution revisions, and I hope I can get all these orgs through. And we got the first org through at the end of last semester. That was really exciting for me, and I'm like, okay, the process is working. We just got to keep repeating this over and over, and that I would say is my biggest accomplishment, because then I was able to help facilitate, people year after year after year, and that organization will have great experiences here at Stout.
Okay, so part of me wants to stay when I helped Shane Miller, but I technically wasn't in SSA at that point. but when Shane and I helped register students during the midterm election, we registered 500 students in one day. So that was one of like my biggest accomplishments, I guess, just like as like a team with people in SSA. But then during my term this past year, I would say planning the lobbying trip. We got to meet with over 21 legislators, and I think it was just a really good time for all of us to be able to interact with our legislators and share like things that students care about and are passionate about that actually impact us. So
my biggest accomplishment so far has been passing a resolution that supported the decriminalization of marijuana. It's a very important issue that affects a lot of people throughout the state of Wisconsin and the nation. And it's also important that the student government voices its opinion on these issues, because sure, we're there to fight for students, but we're also there to advocate for students on an array of different issues. And we have to use that voice and use our influence to let the representatives in the state legislature and in Congress know where we stand.
Probably my greatest accomplishment has been creating the Director of Information Technology position, the one I'm currently working in currently. Within this position, we work with the IT on campus and the CIO to improve student access to technology and just make sure that is something that is prioritized, even considering that this is a polytechnic campus. So that's probably my greatest achievement.
So I would say that my biggest accomplishment would be advocating for the position of the Associate Dean of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, and then serving on that search committee, which brought Dominique Vargas here. She's created a lot of change in her time, so I'm glad that I got to be a part of bringing her here and then helping with the search committee.
With this position, I would say handling the green fee account and creating a lot of projects using those funds. Those are student funds, and being able to use those student funds towards projects that would benefit students on campus. For example, providing LED lighting, which decrease energy costs for campus and decrease the amount that's required of students to pay into it. Providing experiences and events for students to come to learn more about sustainability on campus and showing them exactly what campus has to offer, and further explaining it to them, like the trash, compost, and recycling aspect, and if kids want to learn more about sustainability and how to help out on campus, being able to provide that support system for them and point them in the right direction to satisfy whatever they want to do.
Well, getting involved in SSA is fairly easy. As I said before, I did it my second week on campus as a brand new freshman. One of the easiest ways is to just talk to a senator or a director. There are a lot of senators and directors that are very willing to help students with whatever issue, and even if we can't directly help, we'll find someone who can.
And then also you can just come to meetings. I think interacting with people who serve in SSA is almost more important as being at the table. So
Submit us letters, submit us petitions, just come to our office and talk to us. It takes 5 minutes of your time. If you see something you want changed on campus, let one of our representatives know and we can start getting that ball rolling. If you want to show up to our larger meetings and talk to us about it, awesome. If you want to show up to one of the subcommittees that deals with these things in particular, even better. If you've got ideas, come make sure that they're heard.
I would say that the best idea for students to get involved is to come to the meetings. A lot of people want to get involved and then don't know the time commitment, so I think it's important for people to first come to the meetings and see what we're about, and then if they're interested in the general meetings, maybe come to a couple of standing committees, and then if they are seriously committed to student government, then I would suggest applying.
Apply. Go get 50 signatures, go get 100 if you want to be a director, and apply and run in the election. It's a great experience. It's very fun. You know, you get to talk to 50 different people or 100 different people, even more.
Yes, so besides via running through our regular means, through our elections, which is actually currently happening right now, you can usually apply to be a senator. That's usually the main point of entry inside of SSA. The second point of entry inside SSA is after the elections in like the fall of the next term, you can apply directly to be a senator or a director if there's just so happen to be an empty seat at the time, but you can apply through that means.
open positions, obviously, that's a key part. I think we have 9 open senator positions right now, which is a huge gap. So open senator positions or any other open positions, and then going to the judicial branch, university court is always looking for people. And then so I think that they allow outside people to be in the student organizational conduct oversight committee, but I'm not sure. So that's another way that students can also get involved.
Something we, as SSA did in the 50th Congress, is open our committees to any student. So all of our committees is always open to the public, but before, students can just sit in there and they didn't really have the voice at the table. And so what we decided this year is if a director so choose, they can ask for seats for individual students to actually vote. So if you care about sustainability, diversity, congressional and Congress type things, you can sit on a committee, and if you're passionate enough and you feel like you really want your voice heard, you can ask that chair of that committee to say, hey, I want a seat at the table, I want to actually vote on what is the SSA diversity plan, or what goes through the green fee, and things like that.
Students can get involved with SSA by joining any Oregon campus. Any Oregon campus deals with SSA. We'll go to SSA for funding. We'll go to SSA for any sort of org guidance as well.
Additionally, just being involved in voting and for senators and directors and the vice president, that really helps a lot too. And just considering how, like last year, we had the rec renovation complex. That's something that's very important for campus, and being involved in voting on that referendum was just one example of the importance of voting.
It's incredibly important to stay active so that we don't become complacent and we continue to fight for students.